Today, we're going to look at why startups fail, so you can avoid that trap. There are certain things that just kill a lot of startups. Knowing what they are and how to handle them will make it much more likely for you to succeed.
This is Raw Startup.
I've always been an entrepreneur. With Vivino, we raised $57 million and have 30 million users all over the world. For years, I've spoken to several startups every single week. I've met with some amazing founders and startups. Some of them succeeded, a lot of them failed. I've learned a lot from both groups. In this video, I will look at the top 5 reasons why startups fail. It's a list made out of real data and my 25-year experience as a founder. For every reason, I will give some clear and applicable advice on how to avoid the pitfalls that kill the most startups. About 8 years ago, we did our seed round with Danish venture fund Seed Capital. At that point, they started introducing me to a lot of their portfolio companies. I met with them so we could, share experiences and learn from each other. A year in or so, I started realizing that a lot of these companies had disappeared. We know that most startups fail, but this was the first time I saw it in practice. This made me very, very interested in looking at what had gone wrong. Why had these companies died? So since then, I've looked carefully at why do these companies shut down, what goes wrong for startups, and that's what we're going to talk about today. When I started doing research for this list, a lot of people came back to me and said lack of funding, running out of money was one of the primary reasons why startups die. That is true. A lot of companies do shut down because they don't have any money left. But that's a consequence of something else. Startups don't die because of the lack of money. They die for some other reason. So I want to look at what that reason is. What is the actual reasons why they ran out of money? Let me tell you the story about Blipper. Blipper was founded in 2011 in the augmented reality space. They wanted to build a search engine where you could use a camera to search for anything. Just take a picture and Blipper will tell you what it is. In December 2018, they went into bankruptcy. Although they'd raised $130 million, they ran out of money and were not able to raise another round. More specifically, Blipper claimed that one investor had blocked further investment. But really, there must be another reason why Blipper went down. That reason is on this list. I have some insight as I met the CEO and founder a few years ago, and in a second, I'll show you the real reason why they went down. We will start at the bottom of the list. Here's the 5th biggest reason why startups fail. Number 5, lack of persistence. Being a founder is not a quick route to a Lamborghini. If that's what you want, there are better and easier ways to get a Lamborghini. The people that do this for the Lambo usually don't make it. When people ask me what does it take to be a great founder, I always say the same word: stamina. It takes a lot of stamina to be a great founder. From the outside, it can sometimes look like these startups are overnight successes. But in the real world, they're years of hard work. Or as we say it, an overnight success always takes 5 years of hard work. When you're a founder, you never really know how close you are to hitting it big time. I think this particular cartoon shows it really well. Sometimes the lack of persistence means that you stop just before you hit it big time. One of the reasons why I'm a pretty good founder is because I never quit, even when I should be quitting. Now let's look at the pro tips. How can we avoid this? The best thing you can do here is set expectations. Prepare yourself and the people around you that this is not a short run. This is a marathon. This is something that will take years to do, years of hard work, and there's also a pretty decent chance of failure. Now let's take a look at number 4. Number 4, premature scaling. A few years ago, the Startup Genome Project looked at the primary reason why startups fail. They concluded that the biggest reason why startups fail, especially among funded startups, was premature scaling. Premature scaling means growing the business too fast and before the business is ready for it. This often happens just after a funding round. There's a lot of money in the bank and massive pressure to spend that money. The investors are shouting, grow, grow, grow. Growth is good, but the business has to be ready. Vivino had a competitor in the US that was very, very successful in the US market. They'd raised $50 million based on that success, and now the pressure was on to grow, grow, grow. They decided to launch in the UK, France, and Germany rapidly. However, the markets were very, very different. The model didn't work there. The launch cost tens of millions of dollars, and they ended up shutting down all 3 markets again. It almost killed the company. They'd spent almost all the money and had very little to show for it. This is classic premature scaling. They grew way, way too fast. At that point, the investors said, no, we're not quite ready to put more money into the company. Let me be very clear here. This is a very dangerous situation for a startup. If you scale prematurely, spend all the money with little to show for it, you can easily be in situations where no investors will put more money in. Here are some examples of premature scaling. Rapidly increasing costs too early, international growth too early, premature paid user acquisition without proof that it's actually profitable. Okay, so what are the pro tips so we can avoid premature scaling? Don't be too aggressive right after a funding round. I'm not a great poker player, but there's one rule that I have that works really well. Don't bet just after you won a big hand. You think you can do anything and you will make bad decisions. So take it cool right after a big round. Just say no. Investors and the people around you invested in you. They believe in you, and that gives you a lot of leverage. Use that leverage to just say no if somebody's pushing for premature scaling. We're moving up on the list now, so let's take a look at number 3. Number 3, broken founding team. I usually say founders build companies and founders destroy companies. There's a lot of truth in that. If you see a broken founding team, you have to fix it right away. There's no way a broken founding team will ever build a great startup. It happens all the time. Usually they disagree on who should do what, how much to put into the startup, or it can just be basic bad chemistry. Let's look at some pro tips. Alignment and manage expectations. I think the best advice here is to have alignment. Agree early who does what the ambition level is for the startup. Create as much alignment as you can and manage everyone's expectations early on. You might as well have that conversation early on because you are going to have it at some point, and it does not get easier over time. It actually gets harder. Founders need to be different. We have a tendency to hire people that are like us, that think like us. That might not be the best solution. We need people that have different skills and sometimes different personalities to build an amazing startup, because there's so many different tasks and skills needed to solve those tasks. If all founders are similar, they will all want to do the same tasks and fight about who's going to do the other tasks. Different personalities can be difficult, but it is a requirement to build a great startup. So think diverse when you're looking for co-founders. Solo is not a great solution. The easy way out of this one would be to be a solo founder. But the numbers actually show that solo founders perform a bit worse than companies with multiple founders. I highly recommend having multiple founders, so being solo is not really a solution I would recommend. Okay, we're getting to the top of the list. Let's have a look at number 2. Number 2, bad timing. First mover advantage sounds like a great idea for a startup, but really it might not be where you want to be. You want to hit the sweet spot in the middle, not too early and not too late. The problem with being too early is neither the technology you're building nor the market is ready. You end up investing crazy amounts of money into a technology that isn't ready to a market that really isn't ready either. Neither Facebook nor Google were first movers, but they were the last one standing. As you can imagine, if you're very late to a market, there will be too much competition. Let's take a look at Vivino, because we hit the timing incredibly well. We started in 2010, and when we launched the app, there were 600 wine apps in the App Store. You might think we were late for the market, but actually the timing was really, really good. Let's have a look at that timeline. The iPhone was launched in 2007 and the App Store in 2008. By 2009 and 2010, it really starts to grow in popularity. And the competing OS Android is also starting to take off. The smartphone is starting to gain critical mass. We also need the camera and the phone to be online in a supermarket. That also happened around the same time. As time goes by, it also becomes easier and easier to develop on these platforms. The technology matures. If we had started 2 years earlier, we would have had some big challenges. First of all, building the product would have been a problem. Developing on a smartphone was less mature, and the image recognition needed was not mature. On top of development being hard and costly, we would be building for a small market. There were very few smartphones out there, and they had a bad camera, and most of them were not online. We needed all those things for Vivino to work. That was all about being too early. If we were too late, somebody else would have taken that massive market. There's a great TED Talk by Bill Gross on this subject. I highly recommend it, and without giving away too much, it's got something to do with timing. So what are the pro tips here? Rather late than early, and you can always compensate by executing better. I would rather be late than early. You can be too late, but a little bit late is better than too early. The problem with too early is there's a very good chance you'll be dead before the market actually hits. Investors gone and no more startups, as the money will all be invested. The way to compensate for being late is to do better, execute better, build a better product, beat the competition. It's really, really hard to compensate for being too early. The window might be longer than you think. In our case, it's probably a couple of years. Anytime between 2010 and 2012, we would have been fine. So if you look at a market and think maybe it's too late, if you can execute better, you might actually have a shot. Okay, we're getting to the top of the list. Number 1, no product market fit. Yeah, no surprise here. The hardest thing and the most important thing for a startup is to find the product market fit. It is a requirement for any startup. There's no way around it. You have to find your product market fit. Product market fit basically means that you find a product that you can build at scale that the market wants at the price that the market is willing to pay. And yes, you need all three to have a product market fit. Product market fit is mostly a challenge in the beginning, but we see more and more companies that have raised multiple rounds of funding and still haven't found a product market fit. For Vivino, we found a great product market fit very early on. Scanning a bottle of wine and giving you all the information in seconds was a great product market fit. However, that was a free product and not something we could build a business on. We needed a second product market fit that could make us some money. So in 2016, we started building a marketplace on top of Vivino. We wanted to have a marketplace where we could charge a marketing fee every time a bottle of wine was sold. It took us a couple of years to find the product market fit, but by 2018, we'd found the product market fit for the commercial part of the business. The point is, be aware you might need multiple product market fits before the startup is out of the danger zone. Now let's go back to Blipper that I mentioned earlier. They'd raised $130 million. In 2015, I met with the CEO and founder, Ambarish Mitra. They'd already raised a lot of money by then. For me though, it was pretty clear that they had not found a product market fit. They still kept it all going to December 2018. And the reason why they went down was not lack of funding. They never found a product market fit. Okay, let's take a look at the pro tips to find a product market fit. All focus on product market fit. There's no way around this. The only thing you need to put your effort into is finding product market fit. Don't waste your time doing any other stuff. When you don't have product market fit, you only look for product market fit. Be aware of a false product market fit. When we work hard on our product to improve our product, we sometimes fall into the trap of thinking we have a product market fit, a false product market fit. Be careful with those false positives. A very common mistake here is to do paid marketing. Be very careful with doing paid marketing before you have a product market fit. It may trick you into thinking you actually have a product market fit. You really don't have a product market fit. You're just paying users to buy or download your product. Finally, this is about learning fast. Always use a minimum viable product strategy. Release early, often, and learn fast. The faster you learn, the faster you'll have a product market fit. That's it, guys. Take a very good look at this list. Based on my experience, these are the top 5 reasons why startups fail. Looking at this list is so important because we can learn so much from the ones that failed. That will increase our chance of success radically. If you want more videos just like this one to learn to build a better startup, please subscribe to my channel right now. Thank you very much for watching.